for this finals twice. And instead, you're choosing to sit here and cast with me. I hope it's working out nicely for you.
Yes.
Well, we can have a quick look at the mat here, and we can see the decks that are going to be featured. One we're expecting, it's Ace. There's going to be a lot of Ace this weekend. One we are expecting a little bit less, and Shell's going to be happy. We got some Lim.
I'm also happy. Lim is a very good performing deck, especially if you have if you see your curve, if you know what you're doing with the deck is just so good.
Well, we are rolling here. We've already had 2 turns. 1 Don from our Ace player, 2 Don from our Lim player, and then we're off to the 3rd total turn of the game already. Haven't seen any cards played, though.
It seems like Lim missed their 1 cost. 1 cost so important in this matchup, but he missed it. However, Lim likes to go 2nd in this matchup. That is something that might sound really weird, but Lim going 2nd means a turn faster to your 10 cost Shanks, and you're basically doing the same thing as you are going 1st, but you are able to swing 6, and that's really important into 6k leaders. Otherwise, you can't swing while you are playing on curve. So as you can see, he has 3 done for his leader ability and is able to swing 6 with his leader Lim.
That is going to help very nicely. We see a swing of 6 in here. Not going to take too much to get around it. Remember, you do have a 6k leader with Ace. That's one of the massive advantages. So you will need an extra 1,000 power on every swing if you are playing against Ace. The good news is, well, they've only got 3 life to begin with, but we do counter out with an Atmos here.
Atmos not really good into Lim because they are basically all playing 5 costs. And yeah, you see how bad the hand is for Lim if they have to play Mihawk as first character. No Doflamingo, no Sabo. This is not the best one. Or actually maybe even one of the worst that you have to play like this, because Mihawk is one of your win conditions, of course, in this matchup. And let's see, do we have a Yamato? Yes, here we go.
Here we go with the Yamato. That's going to be some nice draw power provided. We're going to pop a Don down onto the Ace. Are we going to have a 7k swing with our leader? Of course, 7k swing, tie goes to the attacker, so a 2k counter will not be enough. One of the advantages of Ace is that you can get that 7k swing with a leader with only 1 Don, force your opponent into some much more awkward countering scenarios.
Lim already needs to make a decision. I can imagine, yeah, it's live. Asking for a 2k on Mihawk was maybe too easy, so he's trying the aggressive way.
Don't mind that. And like you say, the draws have not been great so far. The Mihawk, Mihawk activates a character if you've got 2 rested Odyssey characters. Well, 2 rested characters. And you didn't have any. So you didn't even get to use Mihawk's skill. You played it as a vanilla 5 cost 6k. If you're playing Mihawk this early and you're not even getting to activate the skill, bad sign. 6k swing from the Lim leader here, coming into life, forcing a reply from Chippy.
1 card or leader ability. Pretty easy to counter for Ace, and I think Ace doesn't want to go too fast lower in life because you have to respect a lot of cards from Lim, because Lim is most of the time playing quite some events. One of them is Asura, so even if you have set up 2 big blockers, Newgate with 12k counter, well, not counter, power, they can just rest it with their Demon Aura, so you will probably try to stay as healthy as possible and as long as possible. Both players also chilling with 10 cards in hand.
I mean, that helps when you got 10 cards in hand. A lot of options, a lot of countering, a lot of things you can be playing. Here we go with... Oh, that was just a Roger getting discarded there for the...
leader ability.
Yeah, just it basically, the Ace leader skill turns any card in your hand into a 2k counter once per turn, which is absolutely absurd. And it means you can use things like that Roger that don't have a counter as a counter. We now see a swing with the aforementioned Mihawk, and it looks like Chippy is going to be happy to just take that into hand.
Yep.
Now we see a Lim being played down here, that lovely little special rare print of the Lim. Yep. That is, of course, your 5 cost, which acts as a searcher for Odyssey cards.
Yep. Amazing art as well.
Oh, I love it. One of my absolute favorites. I love that this let's call the Constellation style of special rares from OP12, if I remember correctly. Big fan. So here we get an Anel. That's what we're searching off of the limb activation there.
Yep, really good to get the NL. Being able to draw 3, trash 2, recycle a bit your hand, because your hand is very big, so you can get rid of all the cards you won't need in this matchup.
And then you get 3 extra cards that you can have a look at that you didn't have before. Hopefully, draw into some of these things you need a little bit more. So Anel comes down, you draw 3, then you trash 2, but the 2 trash can be any cards in your hand, even if you've had them since the beginning of the game. So it looks like we're making our choices here. I did not see what the first one was, I'm afraid.
Well, you will have to reveal it anyway, so...
Oh, absolutely. Just putting it face down. It's a little thing, but if you put it face down and then change your mind, you haven't given your opponent information about one of the cards in your hand. Whereas if you put it face up and then change your mind, then you've given your opponent information that they can use. We saw this in one of the previous rounds where a player used a Dawn, then changed their mind, never revealed an event card, but gave away that there was one in their hand. Information very, very valuable.
Here we go. He's revealing cards. Hell's Judgment and another Searcher. So that Searcher doesn't have a counter, so that is probably the reasoning. Also, we are almost at our 10 Dawn turn, and that is where we are playing a whole different game. He's probably trying to chain some 10-cost Shanks, which is really good, because playing the 10-cost Shanks, although the card says specifically you cannot play cards from your hand during this turn, you still can play cards from your limb ability, and that is really strong, especially if you have the Mihawk being able to put, for example, 7 Dawn on one of your characters. Well, play Shanks first, of course, otherwise it won't be possible. But play Shanks, put 7 Dawn on one of your characters, and then play Mihawk, for example, swinging 12 twice or more, which is really, really, really good.
2 12 swings are usually pretty nice. We see the Garp coming down here. It's one of those searches that only works in an Ace, Sabo, or Luffy deck, and they've got to be part red, obviously. But it's far more adaptive than most search that we see. Lets you get any card of a cost of 3 or more.
Yep.
That is far better than most of these searches we see. Because it's Garp, canonically makes sense that we limit it to Luffy, Sabo, and Ace.
Yep. You can basically search everything in the deck, like on maybe 5 cards that you are not able
Thatcher
to...
about the only ones you can't. Oh, and Radical Beam.
Yeah, that's not a lot, so yeah, it's probably your best searcher in the deck.
We are getting ready to play something here. Chippy's having a think. Changing his mind. Okay. What's he got? I didn't even see what it was, Ruben.
6 Dawn. Best case, I guess, a Jozu.
It's a new gate for 9 Dawn coming down here.
Oh, he is doing his search still. Okay, now we have 6 Dawn left.
I was gonna. I didn't think he had 9 Dawn. That was just a search from the Garp. Okay.
6 Dawn left, so that might be a Jozu. But it seems like he is being aggressive, not going for a Jozu. Maybe 7-7 and play a Marco out. Because these 7s are going to the leader.
Well, we got the 7K swing with Yamato here to start off with. Do we have a way? Is that going to punch through at all, do we think? Nope, we're going to counter it away with a limb and an...
Usohachi.
It is an Usohachi, a lovely special rare. Okay, I like that. Right. Fancy deck.
And I do like that he is going face against Lim, because if you're swinging on the board, Mihawk and Anel here, for example, you're basically making the leader a 6K, because they can defend way easier, because if you swing 7, of course, it's only a 2K. And swinging to the leader, they can't take forever. They do have to play more defensively, because going to 1 life, pretty dangerous, especially if you are going 10 cost Newgate, giving 2 Dawn to leader and to the Yamato swinging 8-8, and they don't want to go to 0. So...
No, very well put. So we are going to take that life there. Yeah, is going to take it off of that swing. And then it looks like we're all getting ready to go on to our next turn here. Nice little variety of Dom. Pick it all up, get sorted, get ready, activate all of your characters, and then go with what is very much a 10 Dawn turn now. So, you keep talking about Shanks. Could this be a Shanks turn, Ruben?
I feel it.
It is a Shanks turn. All 10 Dawn. And this is the big bad from the deck nowadays. One of the new tricks it got came around in OP13. One of the things that's helping the deck nowadays, it sets all of your Don to active, but then you can't play cards from your hand during this turn. So it ends up costing 0 Dom, but restricting your options. But what you can do, like you say, is use that Limb Leader skill to play a card, but you can also just attach Don and swing.
Yeah.
You still get to use a Don, just not for anything. You're not for everything.
And,
A 6k swing here.
now this turn he's also being able to keep as much Don open as he wants, because of course it's dangerous. There are 2 Yamato, there is an ace. Then there are potentially a lot of swings coming at you, so...
Well, we've taken down the Yamato, so that's quite good. Lim takes down the Yamato. No. There's a counter with the Yamato.
Yeah, he
Counter with the Yamato. Apologies. Yamato still very much on the board right now.
Yep. Enough Yamatos for days for the ace side.
One on the board, one on the board, one in the trash. You can see how it gets confusing. Too many Yamato. It's almost like it's one of the best cards in the deck.
Yep.
Now we're using a couple more Don. No, we're not. False alarm.
He has a Mihawk in hand, so he can put Don on one of his characters and swing very big, but he is considering at least. Of course, if you swing very big, you don't have Don open, and you are at 1 life, so I can imagine he will leave Don open for... as we saw at the start, he trashed Hell's Judgment. We don't know if he plays a second one. And then the events that the Lim most of the time plays is Asura. Sometimes they play Slow Beam and Blast Breath. Those are the cards that are very popular in the Lim deck at the moment.
I know if he plays another Judgment of Hell. I've got the deck list right in front of me. But do we want to give it away during day 1 of the stream, Ruben? Maybe we'll just wait and see if he plays it. Yeah, if it's there. Maybe it's not there. I ain't telling you nothing.
I can imagine he does because of the Green Zoro matchup. That's one of your harder matchups as Lim. So that might be a reasoning. Okay, so
well, it looks like we use a leader skill on the ace to get rid of a new gate that doesn't have a counter. We then use a Garp that absolutely does have a counter to get rid of that swing. So we're still alive for the time being. That was a pretty big Anel swing, but didn't go through. Now we're going to see another swing with Mihawk onto Yamato. Now we see an actual attack into the Yamato. Can we counter it with a Yamato, do you reckon? No, but we can't counter it with a Thatch.
We do have so much counter, of course, so... And this is something that I think players should do more and more, is tracking your opponent's trash. It's so important. If you see like the highest level of players, they check their opponent's trash so many times, counting the 2Ks, counting the outs, counting how can I lose, how can I win. And that is something that is very, very good to teach yourself into a card game. If you are winning, think about how you can still lose. And if you are losing, think about how you still can win in any options.
I think that's very well put. And yeah, keeping count of the trash, absolutely vital, because, you know, rather than try, you can give yourself that information of how likely it is that they've got a 2K, which means you can make an informed judgment as to how hard you can go, how aggressive you can go. Start to play the odds, know what's most likely to actually come around and get you the victory. Well, we're still swinging. Here we see some Don being used. This is for the Lim leader skill. Like we said, you can't play cards from your hand, but you can use a leader skill. It is for another Mihawk. Now things are better. Now this is where Mihawk comes in, because now you actually get to restand one of your characters, and that makes a huge difference. We had another Don and have an even bigger Anel swing. 2 Don last time was big. Wasn't enough, Ruben, so we got a 3rd Don on here. It's a 9K swing from the Anel. Is this one going to go through?
And is he going for a Yamato or for a live? I can imagine he's going for a Yamato because he is... You are at 1. Okay, so he's not... yeah, he decides to go 9.
Well, 9K swing from the Anel coming down now.
Deciding if he wants to like leave the second Don open for potentially one of his counter events, or is 1 enough because he has the Asura in hand, which we already seen. So he is going for 9 swing onto the Yamato, asking 2Ks. We don't have it.
So we get rid of the Yamato. That's gone. Still 1 on the board, mind you. And it looks like we are then passing over only Garb and Yamato on the board. So yeah, with Lim has got a much better board established right now. Got a lot of threats, a lot of characters out there, and Chippy with Ace. Right now it's a Yamato and the Garp. The Garp's not really posing much of an offensive threat, not unless you want to be piling a bunch of Don on there. So time to start getting a little bit established, because maybe, like, next turn could go pretty badly. There could be another Shanks.
And the worst thing about this matchup or this particular match is the Shanks is established before you establish the big body. So you have two choices. Or you're going to red rock, but you can't develop a big body. Or you play your big body, but you leave the Shanks up for an attack. And 12k is a very hard number to counter out. So that is what we are definitely thinking about. Do I red rock or do I... Well, if they have like 8 cost event into... I am Whitebeard into 10 cost Whitebeard, that's pretty good because you can swing double 8 or even 8-9 onto life in one card. 2 don't open and you know they play Hell's Judgment. So that's the decision that he now has to make.
Absolutely. Shank's been one of the 2 big new additions to the deck in OP13. The other one being that Sanji. Do tend to come around in most of these decks, which is weird with a Sanji because the second skill, you need a Film or Straw Hat Leader. You don't even have one for Lim. But playing it and activating those 2 Don is frankly good enough. Also, the Lim players have seemed to decide. So, got a lot of Don open. Yet to make a decision on exactly what to do with it. We're going to have a swing from Yamato here, it looks like. No, changing our mind again.
Yeah, tough turn for the Ace side, especially if you don't have the package of I Am Whitebeard and Newgate. Still possible. And I did see, we did see that he searched for 9 cost Newgate, so if he has I Am Whitebeard, he can still play I Am Whitebeard and a 9 cost. Yep. Even putting himself to a 10k leader if he wants to.
Well, the Aura Blade does get rid of that. There's 8 Dom. There is the I Am Newgate. That's a card we were waiting for. I Am Whitebeard, sorry. Lets you play a Edward Newgate from your hand, even if it's more than an 8 cost, which this one is. And then you can add a card from your life, if you like, to give your leader a 2k bump until the end of your opponent's next turn. Turning that ace into an 8k leader.
10k even.
10k?
Yes, I Am Whitebeard. He used the ability as well. So he took his own life.
Oh, and of course, you've got the Whitebeard. So yes,
and
so
the Whitebeard effect. So a 10k leader, that's very, very big to get rid of.
That's a lot.
That might be even too much to win next turn.
I think you might be right. I Am Whitebeard, if you take the life, gives you a 2k. And then Whitebeard just gives you a 2k. You're already at 6, which is more than the average of 5. So you got a 10k leader, and it seems like, okay, we're starting off over on the air side of the board. I mean, do you just try and establish some threats for next turn? Do you play defense? Do you try getting over the 10k leader?
The good part is that the Yamato is rested, so you can start swinging with 6s into the Yamato. They will let it go probably after the first hit, because otherwise they will die to Shanks and probably a third Mihawk. But they have to respect it. So if you can establish a blocker, the very scary part is if you can establish a blocker and you want to hit face, you still lose to Roger.
Yep, which is a little bit of a problem. We do have a Doflamingo blocker, which we do play in these Lim decks, but you're right, blocker doesn't do much when Roger says, oh, by the way, if there's 0 Don and someone activates blocker, the game is over. Alternate win condition, I win, baby.
Yep. If you can counter a 6, a 10, and establish a blocker, you play the blocker right now, so that is what he needs to counter out now. If you can counter a 6k from leader, 10k from Whitebeard, you're safe to Roger, and you can play quite safe, attack phase, and play the blocker. If you can't counter the 10, well, the 6 he probably can, but the 10, if you can't, then it's a really awkward turn. Then he has to decide, my opponent has it or he doesn't. So that is a very tough choice for the Lim player. And that's why Roger is so good. You need to consider Roger at any time.
It could come out, and that is a bit of a problem. And it's if either player has 0 life, Roger stops the blocker coming out. Well, doesn't technically stop the blocker. You do get to block, but then you lose the game. So it's not quite the same, I don't think.
Not recommended.
No, not recommended at all. We do have a nice board set up from the Lim player here. We've got the 10 cost Shanks. We've got your Mihawk, your Enel, a second Mihawk, because, well, as I was talking about with Shao, Mihawk's so good, you want a second one.
Absolutely. And looks like he will go for Enel. Try to search for more cards to defend himself. Yes.
That's what we're going for.
Being able to draw 3 cards. Looking for more defensive tools, of course. And now he can... if I see it correctly, I think he can counter out of a 6 and a 10. So he might attack the upcoming with his Shanks this turn.
And that's the goal, right? Your opponent's got a 10k leader. Your chances of getting over the hill this turn are very, very low. So he's just setting up for next turn. Hope your opponent can not do the same thing again. And then next turn, you're going to have a decent board full of decent, powerful characters that you can use to try and get over and win the following turn. That's the goal here. We do get a Don onto Shanks because, I don't know, apparently 12k isn't enough after all. So we see a 13k swing to life with the Shanks leader. Shanks character onto the leader, sorry.
Still a lot of cards for Ace, it seems. So Ace, no Don on leader, so no extra draw. If he takes this last life, he takes last life.
And now our player's at 0 life, so if anyone tries blocking the Roger out, it ain't going to work. Thing is, though, yeah, it doesn't have a blocker, and Chippy doesn't have a Roger yet, so it's all hypothetical. As I say that, down comes Blocker Do Flamingo. But again, Roger says if either player's got 0 life and your opponent tries blocking, you lose. You win the game. So that's a bit of an issue. If you get Roger down, which is there, your opponent can't block anymore.
Nope. Do we have the 6 and the 10? This is what I mentioned. If he can counter the 6 and the 10, and that is what his play was. He went for the swing on life, so that means he must have it. Otherwise, this 13k swing was not correct.
Oh yeah, you don't want to set up a Roger if you don't have the counter for the 2 characters already on the board, because otherwise you are desperate for your blocker. And you know that you're essentially setting up the Roger play by taking the last life.
He doesn't have it?
He doesn't have it, so that means that Chippy and Ace is going to be your round 5 winner here. We are halfway through, and Ace